Morning. This is Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. Our word of the day is Burgeon. Begin to grow or increase, rapidly flourish. The market for feminist literature has burgeoned over the last 5 years. So that's our word of the day, Burgeon. And now let's go to our heat map. Heat map, we got a little bounce here. Apple and Google are both down a little bit. A mixed bag in biotech and healthcare. Finance is mostly down. Tesla is down. Energy is bouncing back today. And basic materials and utilities are kind of a mixed bag as well. So that's where we are there. I didn't mean to stop sharing, but here we go to our charts. A-Lab got a bit of a bounce today in the semiconductors. Not sure if it's actually viable yet, but it is interesting to keep our eye out on it. Go to our dollar index. Dollar index is up again today. 2 gap ups in a row. Take a look at silver. Predicting silver to come down to about 23. Move my picture a little bit. Silver is actually bouncing today a little bit. It's got its head up against its 20-day moving average. Gold is bouncing as well. Looks like we kind of got a gap up from Friday. Look at our copper index. It is gapping up as well. All those are gapping up on the news. Take a look at Arrow. Got a big move on Arrow in the mining ores. FC Fort McMoran. And it looks like we got a continuation, not quite a gap up. And Southern Fur up slightly. So that is a story there. Let's look at our bond yields. Bond yields gapped up again. So I'm sure there's some pressure on the small capitalization stocks. We're up to 4.78%. The 10-year, and on the 20-year, we're at looks like 3.6%. Another gap up there as well. Huge gap up on Friday. Continuing on, just look at the small capitalization stocks. Did sell off, and now they're trying to bounce back up 0.22%. Look at the equal weight and the S&P 500 sold off, and they're trying to get back there. S&P 500 up slightly. The NASDAQ is up slightly as well, and the equal weight sold off and is bouncing back just like the equal weight on the S&P 500, the Dow Jones. And it is pretty stable. So we'll go over here, take a look at our news for the day. World news: all 5 members of the Bank of Israel's Monetary Policy Committee voted on May 27th to leave the benchmark interest unchanged at 4.5%. French President Emmanuel Macron said he would dissolve parliament and call for a new election after suffering a heavy defeat in EU elections. And U.S. bank deposits fell 17.555 trillion from 17.597 trillion in the prior week. On to consumer news. Need to get back to our chart. DraftKings files automatic mixed security shelf, and they're trying to get above the 200-day moving average. They're up close to 3%. Planet Fitness upgraded to buy from hold at Jefferies and raised target to $100 from $62. Big gap up on that news, and it is trending higher. On to Southwest Airlines was in the news as well. shares rise 6% pre-market following a report by the Wall Street Journal that Elliott Investment Management has built a stake of nearly $2 billion in the company and plans to push for change aimed at growing the share price 77%. So that is the story there with energy, industrials, and materials. DK downgraded to sell from hold at TD Cohen. Noble Energy to acquire Diamond Offshore for $15.52 per share in cash stock. Part of the transaction, Diamond shareholders will receive 0.2316 shares of Noble, plus cash considerations of $5.65 per share for each share of Diamond stock. So Noble is actually went up quite a bit on this, up over 6%. Lockheed Martin mentioned positively in Barron's, saying that while the defense contractor shares returned about 9% per year on average over the last 5 years, they have lagged the S&P 500, but notes with growing order backlogs and improved manufacturing could boost business. So that is Lockheed Martin, and they're actually selling off on that news. Interesting. Berkshire Hathaway purchased 2.6 million shares of Occidental Petroleum stock in recent days, lifting its stake to 250.6 million shares, or a 28% interest. Take a look at Oxy. Berkshire is down slightly, and Oxy is trending slightly after a huge downturn. We'll see if they can have a bottoming base. They had a big cup. And I guess you could call this a big handle. A little lower than you would hope for, that's for sure. The International Air Transport Association is anticipating record passenger numbers this year, and planes will be about as full as they were before COVID-19, before record amounts of fuel. Iraq, OPEC's second largest oil producer, said it expects to soon reach a final agreement with semi-autonomous region of Kurdistan and international oil companies there to restart oil exports. So Crystal Biotech, which is up. Virtuous Financial is up as well. Stepstone Group, Wellhead or Cactus Incorporated is up big time as well. Tidewater is up as well. These are all replacing Oral Sure Technologies, which is down. Marcus Corporation down as well. TTEC Holdings, Medifast, and CRNC in the S&P Small Cap 600 respectively. On to Moderna, said its combination of COVID and flu vaccine topped rivals from GSK, Glaxo, and Sanofi, and its own Spikevax COVID shot. In a study of 8,000 people, Moderna's combination vaccine proved it's not inferior to the licensed comparators, Fluarix, Fluzone, and Spikevax. So that's the news on Moderna. On to technology, media, and telecom. CrowdStrike, big move today as it joins the S&P 500 along with KKR. Up big on that news, and GoDaddy website company will replace Robert Half. Robert Half is in a big downturn, but it did move up today on that news. Comerica and Illumina in the S&P 500 respectively, and Illumina will replace GoDaddy in the mid-cap 400. And Illumina is falling to their declining 10-day moving average. AMD was downgraded to equal weight from overweight at Morgan Stanley, and it is falling to its 50-day moving average on that. news saying investor expectations for the chip maker AI business seem too high. Cognizant to acquire Belcan for $1.3 billion, sources say at Reuters. Microsoft, Mr. C, kicked off its annual Xbox game showcase on Sunday, unveiling a new all-digital version of its Xbox Series X and S consoles, as well as trailers for more than a dozen games, including the next installment of Call of Duty. Microsoft is up slightly today. Deutsche Telekom buys 6.7 million shares of T-Mobile. Deutsche's fell, and they're trying to bounce back. Let's take a look at T-Mobile exercising call options on T-Mobile US shares held by SoftBank from Japan. And T-Mobile continues to move up very positively. Broke out over here, 168.74, and they just continue rising up almost 1% today. And that is our news. So let us go to what is trending today. What is up 10%, a 200% increase in volume. Diamond Offshore, which is being acquired. KKR, which we just looked at. I believe Virtuous, we just looked at as well. We just looked at Cactus, Wellhead, Tidewater looks like it's breaking out of a few day consolidation here. Got above its 50-day moving average, up 14%. And Opera, ADR, Norwegian company that develops web browsers, it gaps up, pulls back from this. It's up a little over 8%. So that is the story there. Let's take a look at some of our IPOs. Bow, which had a position in, is up slightly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 16 to 25 days of a IPO base usually breaks out. And we'll continue to watch that. It is up a little over 3%. Lower Holdings had a big move today. It's pulling back a little bit, but it has definitely broken out. I wouldn't say this was an IPO base. This IPO base, it did break out over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12. I guess this could be considered an IPO base. It's more on the longer side, be close to 25 days. Although it says 14 days here. I guess they didn't count these first few days. And then it's pulled back here into the sell zone. We bought it right over here. I think it was 55 area, and it is definitely breaking out of there. Serve continues to kind of consolidate. I guess we got like a little double bottom formation going out of here. On a double bottom top, I guess it would be like 415, 420 would be the buy point. And we'll just continue to watch that. Now let us go to, we're currently trading. Actually, before we do that, let me share what the Bitcoin and Ethereum are doing. Sorry, located. I just need to move over. I believe it's this screen right here. Yeah, this is Bitcoin. It pulled back several times over the weekend. It kind of went up to its high of, actually broke above 70,000, pulled back a little bit, but it's still trending pretty positively. If we just go to the 5-day screen, we see this big shakeout, didn't go down any further. It's just been trending over the weekend, and then it's kind of broke out of that lower consolidation. And we can take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum did go above 3,700 last night, and it has pulled back. So we'll just see, pretty much follows Bitcoin's move. But that is the story on those two. Let's go back to our screens. We didn't look at MicroStrategy, I believe, on our weekend follow-up, but this is MicroStrategy. It's bouncing a little bit with Bitcoin bouncing. It's up $39 here. NVIDIA had their 10-for-1 split. Did sell off Thursday and Friday. We got a little bit of a bounce today, up 1.3. It is trading, instead of $1,224 a share, it's trading at $122 a share. I think we got a little bit of a pullback in 4 today. Did pull back, and now it is bouncing. Shift4 Payments, as we said before, is the payment processor for the hotels. Toast does have a little competition. We met with the sales representative last week. We went to Spot On, is kind of a competitor to Toast, and Square is the other competitor. So Toast is kind of bouncing a little bit today. Square, it continues to fall. It's under a 200-day moving average, which doesn't look too good at the moment. On to restaurants. Kava pull back to the 10-day moving average, and it's getting a little bit of a bounce today, up 3.5%. We'll see how that goes. Pretty on this pullback to the 50-day. They've pretty much been following the 10 and 20-day moving average. So we'll continue to watch that and see if that continues. Kava Mediterranean Grill was our test on 16 to 25-day IPO base last year, pretty close to the same time. Dutch Brothers Coffee had a little bit of a pullback on Friday, and now it is bouncing again. So we bought over here. We sold right in here on this pullback. Then we bought back here at $34.55. And we also bought the $36 options. We sold one of them for 226% gain, and we still hold two of those options. Elf Beauty got a little bounce off of the 10-day moving average here, up 1.67%. I think the bond yields continues to hold this back a little bit. Let's take a look at NetApp. NetApp is bouncing off of the 10-day moving average, 0.87%. Just trying to find them. Let's take a look at Lyft. Lyft is pulling back a little bit. I'm not sure if I really like that action. I may kind of discard Lyft today. So take a look at it a little bit. Got a lot of selling there. Denison Mines, getting a little bit of a bounce, getting back to its 50-day moving average. This is a cup with a handle. So this is a breakout. Sold off again. So this is a base on base. Basically, if a stock falls below its 50-day moving average and starts living down there, that is a sell. So that is a story with a little bit of our educational topic. Usually these bases, you want them to be 5 to 8 weeks in length. And that is our show for today. This has been Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. Before we do that, I know this is stock of the day on Investors Business Daily. This is Meta Platforms pullback on its earnings, and it has just been trending up, got above its 50-day moving average. So we've gotten rid of all of our short call, covered call options on this one in family's account. Let's just, while we have you here, let's just go around the big cap tech. We got a little bit of a bounce in Netflix. We looked at Microsoft earlier. Amazon was breaking out. Continues its upsurge right over here. Apple is pulling back today. Got a little bit of a bounce off of the 10-day moving average. We looked at NVIDIA. Tesla was pulling back as well. It's kind of in this do nothing stage where it goes up, it goes down, goes up, it goes down. This is Google. Got a little bit of a pullback to the 10-day moving average. See if it'll stay there or pull back to the 20. And then Eli Lilly continues up. It broke out right over here and it just continues moving on up. So that's our close for the day. Thanks for tuning in. Your responsibility to do your own due diligence to find out what's right for you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We hope everybody has a great week. This has been Mornings with Michael for information, educational purposes only, to try to help you make your money work harder than you do.